Hello, fellow Earth citizens. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. I wanted to put in a little kind reminder for anybody that's watched previous videos, or if you have not watched previous videos of mine. Today is the new moon in Aries. Today is April 11th, 2021, and our new moon in Aries is tonight at 10:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you do your math on whether you live somewhere else besides on the East Coast of the United States of America. The reason I'm hopping in is just a kind reminder to say, hey, have you grabbed a hold of something today and decided to ride that ram in with a little more control, or are you going to let that thing just go flying in with all the fire and hell and brimstone that it can bring sometimes? I have North Node Aries, so I understand the fire sign very well and all the problematic issues that can come with being a little too lit and a little too fiery. And I'm also Gemini, so I'm always learning balance, and trying to find that delicate, sweet spot that not just raging over people and not passively standing by in a forgiveness mode, and I'm a doormat. So it's been an interesting day today that it has not been terribly emotional. It hasn't been terribly anything. My previous video, I mentioned that it started out with a lot of lightning, thunder, and rain, and it's been consistently doing that all day long. And excuse me, I suddenly, after maybe 2 hours of making that video, I felt incredibly tired. Just all of a sudden, whoosh, a wave of, I'm really exhausted. I gotta go to sleep. And I don't generally take naps anymore. I used to sleep my life away trying to avoid all of the chaos and what have you. And why the new moon in Aries is critical to me this year is that I'm at a life-changing point right here, right now, and I want to seize every trinergistic opportunity that I can to get in line with the cosmos, to get in line with me, and to get in line with my divinity so that my synergy and trinergy is working its best magic with me and for me, and that I'm doing my part by showing up and asking and doing the work necessary as I am guided and directed by my wisdom within that tells me what to do and when. So when this wave of exhaustion came over me, I couldn't fight it. I could, but I didn't, because it was not an avoidance. That was the first thing I asked myself was, is there some need for me to be avoiding something? Is there something I'm avoiding? And the kind of chuckle that came to me almost immediately was, no, you only got about 4 hours of sleep, baby. Go lay down because I'm tired, Not sure which part of my body was screaming the hardest. I'm not really sure. I didn't ask. I just said, oh, cool. I'm really glad, because when it dropped in, that kind remind from my, advisors and my mentors and my ancestral knowledge said, you only went to bed around 11 and you got up at 3, You maybe want to give us a chance to relax and let some of that stuff process, because setting those intentions is all well and good. However, if you're too tired and too overwhelmed and too kind of, whatever, to be very productive, are you really going to move out with the efficiency that you like to have? And the answer was no, probably not. And it was a great relief to say, oh, cool, so I'm going to go lay down. And it's interesting because I really do listen intuitively as an energy reader, an energy healer, a channeler, an intuitive, a high sensitive, autistic. You can label me a bunch of things. I sure wish you wouldn't, other than to, I have great respect for energy, and as it's moving its way through me and teaching me how to work my operating system with it to make it work more synergistically and trinergistically with divinity. That Trinity is holy and is sacred, and when I pay really close attention to it, it guides me very well, far better than anything out here in outer hell is what I think of it as when I start listening to the chatter and the clatter and the noise around here. It didn't work for me, so I really listened closely to that divinity tell me, this is what we're going to do if you really want to work best for you. And so I laid down, and I don't have an issue with watching TV or not watching TV. That's also been a coping tool of mine, to just zone out in front of a TV show that I watched 1,000 times, in a week, the same one. I nerd out, just meet my need for autism, OCD, whatever anybody else would label it, that's one of my comfort tools, was to use a familiar TV show and listen to that same refrain and watch the same episode 200 times. It used to drive people that were in my life formerly nuts, and I guess I kind of understand it, except that, hey, that's my process. And now I went and laid down, right? And fast forward to laid down, and I turned Last Man Standing on, and I went back and nerded out too. I'm going to go back to that's my favorite episode for right now, and turned it on. And then I said, I'm really being more conscious of my time and being aware of how am I using my time? What am I doing? Am I listening closely? And struggling with, don't want to spend all day in student mode at all. I mean, it gets to be a little bit wearing to constantly be, taking the updates. So for me, it just gets a little overwhelming. I do have a nervous system that's a little bit ticky and can move into some seizure activity if I'm not careful. And I've been really, really, really careful to do the medication drawdown on stuff so that I can detox and not need medication the way that I used to. And listening to that sensitivity of my body and having her talk to me and say, hey, this is the way we can do this. Let's do this together in synergy, the trinergy of it, and it'll be more successful. I'm not giving any medical advice, by the way. I'm not suggesting that anyone change their routine at all with your medication, with your medical health. I'm not a medical expert, and I'm not commenting on anyone's health whatsoever. I'm telling you what works for me, and that's it. So I laid down. I started to watch my favorite episode of Last Man Standing, and I said, before I get too entrenched in this and locked into an old pattern, an old intention of I just want to zone out, maybe I want to reconsider, am I okay with zoning out in that way? And as I sat there, I was like, and next thing I knew, my hand was just taking my remote and turning off Last Man Standing. And I wasn't bothered by it. It's not like I was possessed. It wasn't a Damien moment or anything, or 666. It was a matter of my hand just naturally went, turned it off. And I sat there for a second going, okay, cool. So now what? And I found myself really locking into it's quiet. It's raining. And tying back to whenever I was talking in the previous video, about crawling into a bed with crisp, clean sheets after, been out in the sun and enjoying the outside and get an afternoon shower in Florida. That's the perfect nap time as a kid. And it was raining hard, lightning, thunder, and rumbling, and my dogs had settled down. They were no longer freaking out and being, a weird world, so it was very peaceful. And as I looked around the bedroom, the different cats that were scattered on the floor, the two dogs on the bed, everything was so peaceful, and I thought, wow, and I felt that wave of just get even deeper, that I think I might be asleep until the next Aries new moon. Perhaps, I'm not sure, but I suddenly feel really super duper tired. And before I just conked out entirely, I spent a lot of time listening to brainwave music and brainwave activation music that, you can look it up there on my playlist are people that I follow that make very specific frequency music that will do different chakra clearings and negative energies and, raise your vibration, your frequency, etc. And so I can't say that I am dedicated to it, that I listen to it every single night. There are days when I just can't do that. My body's not going to allow me to get any more, input or readjustments or anything like that, and I listened very carefully. However, I did stray away from leaving the TV on so that light wasn't shining in and I wasn't hearing that. That was something that became, once I figured out, I actually prefer it that way, then I listened to the brainwave music pretty frequently, and I wasn't planning on, when I went to sleep, planning on listening to anything. Next thing I knew, my body's just going, I think I'll go right over there to YouTube and go bloop, and all of a sudden, right? And I don't remember what happened next, other than I woke up and it felt like 3 days had gone by and I rose from the dead. And it had only been about 45 or 50 minutes, but I felt like I had been asleep for a decade, honestly. And what was his name, Rip Van Winkle? I really felt like I had been asleep a long, long, long time, and there had been a journey of some kind to some far-off place with some far-off people. I mean, just trying to heal and close down chapters in my life, and that has a lot to do with the intentional goal setting and what have you of the new moon in Aries, means that I'm shutting down. a whole entire way of life that I'm just no longer doing and saying goodbye. I'm moving residence and leaving the physical address in the next couple of weeks. And a lot of things have changed dramatically. And it means, closing down business here in this former way of being. And so there was some work being done, and I don't question that business. If I need to know about it, it drops in about, okay, let's filter our way through that information, kind of put those puzzle pieces together if I'm consciously aware. And I've made a deal with my team that, look, if I don't need to be all up in that, being all OCD and asking a million questions and being nosy and doing the inquisition, then how about I just step back and let y'all do some work in the astral world or in the dream world or whatever you call that. I call that, let me leave that into the hands of the angels, God, Brahma, whatever. Leave it into the hands of nobody, anybody, no, nobody but me, just nobody but me and my team. And the me of me was quite handy in working with my team and my mentors, my guides, my angels, whatever you call that. However, the consciousness of me went dead asleep and had no hands-on responsibility in that moment. And it was so refreshing to be able to just relax and rest. And when I woke up, I knew, wow, a lot of stuff had collapsed and been taken away. Still don't really know exactly what it was. However, when I asked, do I need to know what that's about to go back and be reviewing that? The answer was, not right now. Not right now. Possibly not at all. Cool. Great. And so I kept motoring on with my day, and I was just shocked with 11/11, with, wow, so much just got done. And that was with the intention of, I intend to be answering the call of the wild inside me and answering that call of what I need in my divinity to most honor and respect that part of me, because I can't show up with any other intention at all until I've met that call. Doing it bass backwards with meeting intention out there for other people or for an end game that has a specific outcome, for me, that didn't work. It meant that I was subjugating somewhere inside of me, and I was having increased seizure activity, body tics that were out of this world, anger, mood swings, depression, overeating, anxiety, PTSD symptoms that were jerking me around hard. And so being able to release that and just say, okay, release that and let it go, and truly be able to do that with the support and the help of building that faith and saying the words of I am, and using those affirmations and those statements that 1212, thank you. Whether I actually am in here in monkey mind, it's not a matter of doing battle with that monkey mind to convince it that I am loving, I am kind, damn it. It's not that. It's a matter that is overriding that no. Divinity is in me, and I'm in charge, and that old programming is the old baggage and the old garbage. I knew already going into it that this new moon in Aries, while I'm setting intentions, might cause some flare-up, some angry flare-ups, some fiery flare-up, perhaps. And just the sheer obvious facts of my life is drastically changing, and I'm physically moving. I'm getting rid of everything that was ever in my life in terms of furniture, etc., and keeping very little except memorabilia from me and my children, and that's it. And clothing and the animals, that's it. So that was likely to bring up some stuff as I'm going through this, especially in a new moon, new intention, new way of living. And it was a relief to know that you're off the hook with having to do hands-on micromanagement. That OCD stuff, you can let that rest and just give that a moment to decompress and take a nap without any intention whatsoever that I was going to be sending, emissaries within me to go do work of some kind. I just knew, hey, we got this. Here's the kind remind of just relax, listen to some of this music, see if you like it. And I'm kind of picky about the music. When I start turning it on, if I'm not digging it, I don't bother. If it's just not vibing me right, there's too much out there to have it vibe me wrong, and why would I do that? So that was instantly cool. And I almost, probably within 30 seconds, I was gone and took, a 7-day journey in a 45-minute span or something. It was miraculous. And I'm a little tired now and, kind of slow. However, it's been a day of being mesmerized by the ongoing rain, and not an ongoing decrease in my mood, or a decrease in my energy, or a decrease in my willingness to keep saying the words, to combat that monkey mind garbage. That's just garbage input. And my output is far more productive So I really am okay with believing that the garbage input, that's just I'm clearing out old baggage from my mental space. That's just old input, like a computer. Clear that line, clear that line, clear that line. And anywhere where monkey mind is going to grab a hold and go, and try, it's much better now because I just override it and say nope, because I had too much evidence inside me that most of the time, even if it was 50-50, and when it was, I took that most of the time I feel pretty good and solid deep inside. Even if out here it looks like I'm all afraid and not sure what I'm doing. That's just old paradigm, and it's working its way out. So my words are still coming out of my mouth, and I'm hearing with my own ear, my own statement of fact that I am safe, I am strong, I am capable. Any words that come to my mind as spirit, divinity, angels, whatever you call that, is speaking to me to help me find those words to build my faith, because they're on my side. They're on your side too. I mean, you have your own, you don't need mine, and I don't need yours. That's the beauty of divinity, is there's more than enough to go around. And it was just a nice, refreshing, relaxing day of being kindly reminded that we don't have to do things combat style. I did them combat style for a long time, and it was hostile, it was angry, it was horrible, and I was in my wrong vibe trying to work a tribe that we just aren't going to hang together. We're different people, we've got different desires and different intentions and different ways of viewing things, different perspectives, and without the willingness to do it one way or the other, we're not going to be a match. And so it's been quite interesting to find myself at the end of that journey to say, okay, that's all right. I don't have to hate anybody, and I don't have to, shoot them. I don't have to do anything. And I also don't have to live with the guilt or the shame or the blame or the game in my own head, because I'm clearing out monkey mind and not being concerned about how it looks, who I'm answering to. Because I don't answer to my dog, but she's asking me to get her super involved. There's somebody that's outside my house. I need to go. So thank you very much for your time, and remind yourself of Aries, new moon in Aries tonight at 10:31. How can you grab a hold of that ram and make that work for you in a kind and loving way, and be gentle with yourself the whole step, every one that you take it with as much confidence as you can, and journey forward with blessings of the angel realm, the fae, that anything that you can have faith in, believe, is there for you. Use that, and may you have a blessed day. Take care. Bye.